Okay, welcome to Tanya Inside Out at G4 Tufshin Pain Vav. Chapters 36. Hopefully we'll get through chapters 36 and 37 today, which is that's a tall order. It really is. 37 is the longest, physically the longest chapter of Tanya. 36 isn't so long. It's not so complicated, but some big foundations. We're discussing what is dir b'tachtonim, and that is the discussion of chapters 36, 37. So the first thing we have to understand before we know what it is we say that Hashem had a taiva for a dir b'tachtonim. Yeah, what does that mean? A taiva that comes before the dir b'tachtonim. If it was that's the first thing to understand what a taiva is. So we all know we all have taivas, but what really is a taiva? A taiva is and this is the key word here, a reasonless desire. To a taiva you can't answer. If somebody says, "Why do you want that car?" and you could say, well, because X, Y, and Z, that's not a taiva. If somebody says, why do you want that car? And you're like, I just really want that car. Yeah, that's a taiva. So in truth, the only real taiva that we have, and this is the moshul for what Hashem's taiva, this is a moshul for what taiva is. Go on, what is it, the only thing that you really want that you can't answer why you want it? When you peel away all the layers and you get down into the deepest place.
Tainug.
What?
Tainug.
So you said even deeper than what I was going to say. You said Tainug because he's been in our shiur already for a while. But that is the ultimate truth, yeah. But that expresses itself primarily as the ratzon to live. Your desire to live is not predicated on any reason. There is no reason why you want to live. You might think there is, yeah, but it's the opposite way round. You want to live, and therefore you attach reasons to that. It's the fact that you want to live that makes you come up with reasons to live. There is no reason why you want to live. No reason why you want to live. That's called a taiva. So now when we talk about a taiva is a real want. It's not like See, you say, why do you want? See, what Yudi said was really the inner dimension of what we're saying is, why do you want to live? Is there a reason you want to live? And I just said, no, there isn't. But in truth, the reason why you want to live is that it's pleasurable to live. We don't realize that because that's a tainug tamidi. And Chazal says that a tainug tamidi ain't a tainug. Yeah, a constant pleasure is not considered a pleasure. So when have you ever not been alive? The only reason why you don't realize what a pleasure it is to be alive is because you're always alive. That's why people who have a brush with death many times can come back with an appreciation for life, because you have to see actually how what that means, that is the ultimate of all pleasures. So really, what you were saying was really truer than what I was saying, is that your will to live is an expression really of your desire for pleasure.
Does that mean that someone who's who seems like he's depressed and he's not doing well, whatever, but he's still enjoying himself, deep down somewhere? So
there's really two answers to that. If somebody's in chronic pain, yeah, look, I'm sure we don't. Chronic pain, like real chronic pain, can actually. Well, then there's no pleasure in life if there's real chronic pain. So that's a mute. That's a mute that can drive people basically to suicide. That's what you're asking. So the way I understand, there's two reasons for suicide. There's that, which is in a sense a valid reason for suicide. Yeah, but the overall the majority of cases of suicide is that their thinking has overclouded. Their thinking is acting like a sheet of clouds. Yeah, that the thinking has become.
That's the first chapter of the book.
Which book?
Reclaiming Sanity or something.
I mean, it's just a part of the thing to understand is that the sun is Shalom Aleichem. The sun is always shining. He just walked in right now. The sun is always shining, and if there's heavy negative thinking, that is like a cloud cover. The sun is the will to live. The heavy negative thinking that we're experiencing in this generation in a crazy way is the cloud cover is the negative incessant noise that's going on in our heads, and you can be deluded into thinking that you don't want to live anymore. Why? Not because the sun went away, the sun's still there, chazak. The sun's still there, chazak. Yeah, just the clouds are now covering it. So what you need to do is you need to learn how to get in control of your mind. Read Reclaiming Sanity or Quiet Mind or whatever, any other book that there's, I don't know of any other books to be honest, but a book that teaches you how to get your thinking in line. So that, I think that's the answer to your question. I understand it because that is a real question. So that is a taiva. Taiva is a reasonless desire. And that's really what marriage is all about. The deepest level of marriage is your wife. See, the kalim of a man and a woman are completely different. Mama's completely different, yeah? And I mean, probably you've got more in common physically, like with a male ape, than you do just physically than with your wife. The mice, you've got a whole different thing going on. You know, she's got a bit more hair than you. But anyway. Mentally. Either way, what marriage is primarily, the real avoider of marriage is dealing with that. Because I'm 22 years married in another couple of months, yeah? So I'm beginning to like get the hang of it a bit. Yeah, just beginning. And for many, many years, I just, my wife would say, I want a new dress. And I'd be like, we just bought you a new dress. You've got, I got this much room in the cupboard. You've got that much room in the cupboard, yeah? And I'm fine with what I have. You've got 20 times as much, man. You keep needing more. Well, what's pshat with that? Yeah, as everyone knows. And that's the reason why you're meant to marry a woman. Because you can't understand that in any logical way. For me, when I got from, the greatest thing, when I realised that I never have to decide what I'm going to wear again, it was like when it dawned on me, you can just wear black pants and a white shirt for the rest of your life. I was like, that's unbelievable. It's worth getting from just for that. That was just for me. It was like, mamash, unbelievable. The truth is, before I was from, I would basically wear like khaki pants and a white shirt. But that took away the having to decide if I'd wear the lighter pants or the darker pants. I just wore black pants. That was it. Yeah, but by my wife, it's like, it would be Gehenna for her to wear the same clothes every day. Mamash, Gehenna. So how do I relate to that? Because it's not, you ask her why, she's like, I feel like that. What does that, what do you mean? What does that mean? Yeah? That's a real want. Now, when it doesn't make sense to me, and that means I have to step out of my world into her world, because my world, is to call it Tzilas a world is not. It's a little bit of a doichek, yeah. We do call it an oilam, but this isn't really a world. It's not a world compared to Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya. Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya are mamash oilamas, yeah, and it's a shame, kind of shame Meshua. We call it oilama at Tzilas, but really, if you want to, let's say it very clear, the way I understand it, is that Asiya is where Hashem's action lives. Yitzira, it's not really, it's actually the opposite. The oilam Asiya is created, it is Hashem's action. Machshava Dibur Ma'aseh, yeah? It's his behavior. It's not that within the world of Asiya exists Hashem's behavior. The world of Asiya is a code word for Hashem's behavior. I know that sounds very vague right now, but it is. But let's move on. Hashem's emotions are called Olam HaYetzirah. It's not that his emotions are in Olam HaYetzirah. Olam HaYetzirah, the fabric of Olam HaYetzirah is Hashem's emotions. Yeah? Olam HaBriya is his intellect. Yeah? Again, his intellect is not in Olam HaBriya. His intellect is the fabric of what Olam HaBriya is. Yeah? All of that's called creation. That's That's behavior. Call that begadim, midas, and seichel. That's behavior. That's not him. He isn't a seichel. He isn't emotions. He isn't behavior. He has seichel. He has emotions. He has behavior, just like us. We're the perfect moshel. Yeah, AI taught us this, that you're not a seichel. You have a seichel. Yeah, now they made a seichel. You can use this really powerful seichel on your computer now. Yeah, that's a chiddush. That's a mamash Mashiach dekazach, that we've been shown the poil that you aren't a seichel. You have a seichel. So what are you? Well, Olam Atzilus is where Hashem, where his covered is. Yeah, him himself, we could argue that forever. Yeah, that's a great discussion to have. But he's covered. That's why it's called Kisei covered. The Olam Abriya is called Kisei covered. Why? Because covered is Atzilus. The Kisei is the chair that his covered. Like, you can't separate him from his covered. The covered is like the rays of the sun. That's why it's called Atzilus, emanation. The sun, you can't say that the rays of the sun are something other than the sun, yeah? But at the same time, you can't say they are the sun. You could argue that, yeah? What the rays, see, if I put my hand between the sun and its rays, then they discontinue and there's a shadow on the floor, yeah? So you can't cut them off from the sun, but there's the sun and there's his rays. That's the inyan of covered and etzem. The person himself, we say, b'chloidev v'atzmai. Yeah, covered is like the sunlight exuding, is being expressed by the sun, and Atzmoy is the mensch himself. So the Kisei covered is referring to Bria. Yeah, that's called the Kisei covered. Olam Kisei is Bria, and from that Bria it's always grouped together because they're things that he has. They're not him himself. Yeah, so Atzilus is him himself. So now going back to the wife who wants the clothes when you just brought her something, yeah? What's pshat with that? What's your avoider now? I mean, your avoider might have to be to say we don't have the money, but probably that's not true. So your avoider right now is you have to step beyond the kisei and into the covered. The kisei is where seichel ends. That's the end of logic. We have to go past that now. And this is the point. If you're married to a woman who is like your buddy and everything makes sense, Shalom Aleichem, yeah, look, I've only seen that like once. There's one guy I know who, like, his wife and him are kind of like the same, so he doesn't have to like do anything. Shalom Aleichem. That if your wife is the same as you and you understand what she wants, well, then you never have the schus of stepping out of your world into her world. So it just makes sense. You can stay in your world and be a good husband. You hear how that's a problem? That makes sense? Yeah?
Repeat it.
If your wife, yeah,
If
what?
two partners always agree, then one of them is unnecessary.
There you go. It means if two partners, it doesn't mean you can't step out of yourself. If you're a very worked out person, you can still step out of yourself. Yeah, but you're forced to step out of yourself when you're married to a woman 99.9% of the time because she just doesn't make sense to you. That's the inyan of a choik. That's why it says that we're going to be revealed the tam of paraduma, but asid lavoi. And we always think, what I learned for many years is somehow they're going to, some supercomputer's he's going to flick a switch in our brain and we're going to understand the reason. No, that's the whole point, is we're going to know him. And then it would just make sense. And like I said, I'm stepping out of my reality now for the first time after 22 years. I'm beginning to step into my wife's reality. And the questions that I ask when she asks for stuff now are much less violent. My reactions are much less defensive and violent, They're much more, okay, let's see if we can work this out. Doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, we've got all these bills to pay and you want to spend, 10,000 shekels on a shaita or what, like, how can that be more important than it? And I hear. I mean, I don't hear. That's the point. I don't hear. I see. That's the difference between Re'iyah and Shmiya. Anyway.
So what is the purpose you're trying to achieve by going through that, like Shriya Samidos type, or like opening your mind to being Makal, like broader Torah concepts and the Rabboni Shalom? What are you looking to achieve by doing that?
That is.
I mean, what I'm saying.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Amazing,
the question.
Let's say Torah.
Yeah, what do you
we're
achieve by that?
Okay.
So that question is, for me, the fact that you asked that question. Most people won't ask that question, but the fact that you asked that question for me is a big shvira. Yeah, and I'll explain why. I'm with all the covered. Yeah, so I've said this to everyone, but I'll say it again. It's worth chazara, and I don't think you've heard this before. And this is what it means chasidus, the way I understand it. Yeah, what is chasidus? Chasidus, Chazal say chasidus is lifnim mishur sadin. They give a very clear hagdara for what chasidus is. Yeah. So we think this is like the inyan of lifnim mishur sadin, meaning Hashem says grow your payers a little bit. So we're like, okay, let's mamash whack them out, man. Let's just grow them. Yeah. So that sounds like doing more than what's required of us. Yeah. Bichlal, it's not what it means. Bichlal. We'll try and explain it with a beautiful story, yeah, that you've heard, but I'll say again that there was a petak put up in my local shul on the tissue dispenser, yeah, at the shul, where you dry your hands. What do you call it? Not napkin. What do you call it?
Paper towel.
Paper towels. In the paper towel dispenser, yeah. And on the petek was the gabbai of the shul was a guy called Beni Chodosh, yeah, and it was written, don't take bli gevul. You can't, in English it doesn't make sense, but don't take bli gevul, because you see the kids sometimes, not just only kids, but sometimes the kids will take a wad of paper towels, like that much towels, and they'll kind of just do like that, and they'll put them in, and if you see that as a responsible adult, it's annoying, yeah. So there was this petek on the thing saying, "Don't take towels, bli gevul." You have to run.
No.
Oh, this because it would be worth just to stick around just for this. It says, "Don't take towels, bli gevul."
I think more than you need.
Don't take bli gevul. Mean don't take unlimited towels.
More than you need.
Take what you need. Take what you need. Yeah, take what you need. So there's three responses to this petek. The Rasha, and then the middle one you could call the Beinoni or the Tzaddik. In Lashon Chazal, it'd probably be the Tzaddik, to be honest. By the Tanya, you might call this the Beinoni. But let's call it the Beinoni. So you've got the Rasha, the Beinoni, and the Chosid, not the Tzaddik, the Chosid. This one, I'm not going to get into that. So the Rasha, sees the sign on the paper towel thing. It says, "Don't take." It takes bli gevul. He doesn't care. It doesn't. All there is him. So if I don't want to take loads of towels, I'll take one. If I want to take loads of towels, I'll take loads. There's no tzivui. There's just me. I can't even step out myself to see a tzivui. Yeah. Now the next guy, the normal guy, you see, he takes like 3-4 towels. Yeah. That's what he needs. It's not wasteful. That's acceptable. Yeah. Why? Because he sees the tzivui. It says, "Don't take without gevul." So he's like, okay, 3 or 4 towels is not without gevul. I did what you wanted me, yeah? The Chosid doesn't see a tzivui bichlal. What does the Chosid see? The Chosid sees Beni Chodosh. The Chosid sees the gabbai of the shul. You with me?
Nice.
To him, all he saw there was the pain and the anguish of Beni Chodosh running around trying to collect money for the shul to buy these paper towels. And this guy's like, well, look, I know he wouldn't want me to have wet hands, yeah? But I'm going to take one. Is it enough? I could do it. It will take another 10 seconds for my hands to be dry. But I know that he would appreciate that. That's the answer to your question. Do you understand why, for me, the question was a shvira? That's everything, man. That is Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is... Somebody asked me today the question, are mitzvahs an end or a means to an end? In Lashon Tanya, how would you translate end and means to end? How would you translate how would you translate the word means to end? In Tanya, Lashon Tanya, one word.
No.
Kavana? No.
Something that is a means to an end. It's not an end unto itself. Dave, you know? You said? No?
Yeah.
Kleeper. That's what Kleeper is. Kleeper is a means to an end. Does a Kleeper have any purpose unto itself?
How does it translate here?
What?
So then how does that translate here?
Kleeper, means to an end. Kleeper, the best translation for Kleeper is means to an end.
Right. So what you said just before that.
By not taking to be.
Oh, so now. The question is, are mitzvahs an end or a means to an end? Now, the basic way that we've been fed Yiddishkeit is about going to Olam Haba. Yeah? If that's the case, yeah, everyone's going to be watching now to make sure you take it.
Anyway, yourself much more.
Visual aid. That's way too easy to say that.
But the funny thing is, what you just said there, I'm sorry to pick you up on this, it's actually not you have to work on yourself more. It's you have to think about the other, you have to work on yourself, you have to stop thinking about yourself more. I mean, I know what you're saying, but that's really this really an important...
Think about others.
Exactly, it's not about working on yourself, it's about you don't need to work on yourself if Hashem's really real to you. If Hashem's mama's real to you, what do you mean what are you working on? What is there to work on? I'm starting to take my health really serious now. I'm 47 years old in 14 weeks, yeah? And I'm starting to take... Just had my 14-week birthday.
14 weeks. Birthday party in 14 weeks.
It's important to mention how many weeks old you are, I think. It is. Why would you just mention what? You think it goes by years, the growth? That's ridiculous. One day, hopefully, I'll tell you how many days I am. But I really feel it's important to mention how many weeks. But anyway, so I started taking my health. I'm realizing I'm getting, you're getting to the age now where at nearly 50, you have to start paying attention. That's the time when cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attacks and cancer, all these kinds of things can, but these things you have to care. Why is it that you don't want any of these machlas?
You wake up, you realize life is precious.
Why is life precious?
You didn't realize it.
Why is it precious?
Because now there's a time limit. There's a time.
So
before there was no time.
Do a lot of stuff.
You can do stuff. Time up as long as possible.
Why do you want to live?
Pleasurable.
I said by the nefesh habahamis, there's no reason to live. It just wants to live. Yeah, the reason why you're not a nefesh habahamis. Yeah, you're the neshama. Why do you want to live? So you can serve the Bnei Shalom. So what a chutzpah that is. I've got this goof, yeah? What a chutzpah that he's given me this goof. I'm going to cut the time down of how long he's invested so much. I've got so much now to give to the oilam, yeah? To help him in his program, yeah? And I'm not going to try and stretch that out as much as possible. It's just pasha. So now you're not having to fight. When you get that really clear, it's about him. It's not about me. It's much easier because when you're the point, yeah, and then all of a sudden, bless you, when you're all of a sudden now you've got that tithe, right now I would rather eat that beef burger, dripping with oil and the French fries, whatever, with all the salt, etc. I'd rather eat that than live. That's what it feels like right now. Yeah, when you see that, when when it gets served or whatever, yeah, and you understand what I'm saying? You would choose the burger over life right now because anyway, it's not going to happen and how much is it going to? And you've got all the svars, but when you can shift your perspective to him, Yisboach, you're in a different world. It's like with your wife when you're trying to be a good husband, it's about you being a good husband, yeah. And she does that thing again, yeah. She overspent on the credit card the 4th time in a row, yeah. And this time, it credit card got cancelled, which means all your harak kevers, how do you say that? Your standing orders, yeah? As I say that in America, in standing
Automatic.
orders.
Or the
Automatic.
Autopay, English standard. All the auto pays, got cut, and you've got now 10 different companies to get in touch with because the card got cancelled and it was that perfect time of the month that whole thing happened. And now you're thinking, you know what, I want to be a good husband, but right now I don't care about being a good husband. You're going to get it. Whereas if it's about her, you've got a good chance of actually being a mensch. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? What it's about her?
If it's about her, not about me, right?
Not about the credit.
Now there's a shikla das.
Yeah.
I want to be a good husband. That's very important to me. Yeah, but she did it again, man, and I want to go crazy. Well, which one? Well, I'm going to have to think about that, you know. And I think maybe this is. I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling how I'm feeling right now is worth more. To get rid of that is worth more than me. Worth more to me than being a good husband. So if you jump out of this world of being a good husband or being a good Jew and you jump into his world, his brach, and he starts to become real to you, it's like the quick, you're not working on Shmir Sanayim anymore, you're not working on Shmir Saloshen, you're not working on, Kovei Etim, you're not working on Taiva Sachila, you're not working on, Miut Shena, you're not working on Miut Schoira, you're not, all of these avoiders, they all kind of, they go away. It's just him. Oh, right now you need me to guard my eyes? Say that. Oh, right now you don't want me to say this thing? You hear what I'm saying? You go deeper. That's called Lifnim Mishur Sadin. And now you're not having to juggle all of these chitzonias dikabuls, which is the whole world is like that now. Like you see lots of really good Yidden, but it's always talking about Shmir Sanayim or learning Torah, and the only person that I know like who says it is always saying it is Rav Manis Friedman, just constantly about him. It's about him. It's about him. That's what the Lubavitch Rebbe was saying. It's about him. It's about him. It's not about you. It's not about your perfection. It's not about you serving God. It's about God being served. That's it. That is the paradigm shift that changes everything. And the funny thing is, the irony is that you end up becoming unbelievable. That's the irony. If you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about him, start thinking about your choiv to him, not about me, not about my self-perfection, for sure not about Gan Eden, not about feeling close to him. Even feeling close to him is like, what's that to do with him? That's about you. You want to feel close to him. Very nice. Great. What about him? What does he want? Oh, he wants Torah and mitzvahs. So fine, so I'll use his Torah and mitzvahs so that I can feel close to him. And the craziest thing is, like I said, if you can let go of that and you can start and you put him in the center of your life, then you do feel close to him. But that's not your goal. It becomes a side point. And feeling close to him most of the time is to do with what you ate and how much sleep you got and if you got a parking ticket this week. It's not really feeling close to him.
I have a question, Rabbi Daman. Ask this another rabbi, and I wonder what you have to say about this. So it says it's a mitzvah to
say
love
louder
God.
because then people can hear you.
It's a mitzvah to love God, right? V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. Are you supposed to love God more than anybody, more than your wife, more than your family, more than?
My kids are. I had that question. You have kids? You have young kids? How's your oldest? 7? 8. You've been asked that question? Has you ever had your kids say, Abba, who do you love more, me or Hashem? I've had that question.
Yeah. So, similar.
What?
It says...
Something like that. So what does this rabbi answer?
Hashem.
You should love Hashem more. So, look, I think with my kid, I don't remember what I said. I didn't like the question because it's not a simple question to answer. Because really, you have to understand that everything takes context. In to say that I love Hashem more than my wife and more than my children means there's Hashem in my wife and my children. That's not how it is. There's just Hashem. You loving your children, your wife is a chalik of loving Hashem. There's a mitzvah that your wife is not a means to an end. She's not there for your avodas Hashem. She is, but she isn't, because the avodas Hashem is actually experiencing her. That's what that is. So the way to answer that by saying you love Hashem more is already a deep concession to klipa, meaning there's to answer a question like that means you're looking at it from a fragmented. I'm not saying against this guy who said that. I'm just trying to say that you're not the deepest level of the thing. Is it all exists inside? Hashem wants you to love your wife in a reasonless way. Reasonless way.
Reasonless.
You marry her for a reason, yeah, or for several reasons, but the goal is to go. The goal is to ascend those reasons. Like I've said many times, my friend's father, my close friend when I was growing up, his father was just lifted a couple of months ago, and by the end of his life, he didn't have Parkinson's. He had something like that, and he had lost all his. He was still there, but he just like lay there, like he had no, and his wife, Margaret, was. She was absolutely dedicated to him to like the past like 5 years of his life. Like, Kimat didn't leave his side 24/7 the whole time. Yeah, and everyone was saying to me, "You have to get out, you have to live a little, whatever." Yeah, I didn't realise she was really married. She was really married. It wasn't anything about Yehuda, because all the stuff about him Hashem took away. There was just him there left. That's exactly what it was. That's called an Ava She'en Tuli B'davar. She wasn't married. I mean, the lowest level would be married. I'm married to him. I'm not. I'm married to him because he's got lots of money. Yeah, everyone knows that's grubby and disgusting. Yeah, I'm married to him because he's beautiful and tall. Yeah, also a little better than the money, but come on. Yeah. What about I'm married to him because he's really clever? He's got a really good mind. Now it's a little bit. No, someone said that he's a really intelligent person. That's already a bit. What about I'm married because he's really kind? Now we're really talking. Yeah, that's a reason to be married. Yeah, but all of that stuff is. That's all reasons. That's really you're married to yourself because you appreciate kindness. I appreciate strength.
What's the reason then?
What?
What's the reason then?
What's the?
Girls looking to marry a guy.
No. Now to get married, you need reasons.
No.
But once you're married, and you'll see, Hashem's going to take them all away anyway. From my experience, whatever the reason why you married your wife, they get taken, and you'll find there are things about your wife, and there'll be things about you that you'll work out quite quickly after you're married. If you had known about them, this marriage would never taken place. Everyone has the exact same thing. Everyone, if someone had come up to you and told you this, you would, on the wedding day at the Bedekin, you probably would have stepped back. Yeah?
What do you mean step back?
Meaning it was so ma'akev, and you found out like a week later, 2 weeks later, and now what do? You have to work it out. Yeah?
The red line disappeared.
Wait, what did I miss? You said the Bedekin, I'm sorry.
I mean, like if your mum was Yom Chupasoy, it would be such a ikkur, it would be such a you wouldn't do it. It would be, I'm just joking around. You get that? The point is, you marry her for reasons, and you should come up with good reasons. Yeah. But marriage is the avoider of stepping through the reasons, and that's the inyan of what the Rambam speaks about. Kids should be taught with candies and shkedim, whatever you want to give them, and then for covered. But the goal is to get through all of that to why you're serving Hashem, and your response to that question is, I don't know. It's like, why do you want to live? That's real. You with me? Why do you love your wife? What do you mean, why do I love my wife? That's a stupid question when you're really married. So they say to this lady, Margaret, well, why are you still married to Yehuda? What is there about him that means you should be married to him? She might say things like, well, we spent all this time together, and, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's because she's actually seeing a person, not things. And what I was saying before is, when you love somebody for a reason, it's a self-love. You didn't step out of yourself yet. It's like, why do you love pizza? You love pizza because it's got that oily, whatever taste it has, saucy. Yeah? What?
Saucy, cheesy.
However it is, yeah? So that's why you love pizza. So you love your wife because she's kind. So you don't love herring. And this guy loves his wife because she's mama's stark. Do you realise you're actually loving yourself? Sure. That's what it is. That's what the avodah of marriage is to step out of yourself. That's what Yiddishkeit is. Yiddishkeit is to step out of yourself into his reality.
So essentially, the person you marry can be interchangeable.
So
at that point. But then the person you marry is interchangeable. So I mean,
if it's about me being a good husband,
You're both interchangeable.
no, whoa, wait. You said if it's not about anything about them, then they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was thank you for saying that. That was the opposite, mamash, the opposite. And we'll give you an analogy to understand this. So which again you've all some of you have heard anyway.
About how they are.
The mother, the 25-year-old girl who just had a baby, and the baby, yeah. Let me ask, what's your name again?
Chaim.
Chaim, you've never been to the ship before, have you?
No.
No. So let me ask you, if I was to say to you, there's the mother, the 23-year-old woman who just had a baby, and the day-old baby, yeah? Who needs who? Answer the question. Don't try and think it out. Just push it. Who needs who?
The child needs the mother.
The child needs the mother. Does the mother need the child?
Less so. I mean, she definitely needs it. But yeah.
I mean, she
And
was
as
doing
a
fine
mom,
for 23 years without the kid.
She went into a new stage of life. But yeah, the child needs a mother more.
well, unless she got knocked up by accident.
Well, okay. Let's assume that didn't happen.
Reality check.
Lemaisa is the exact opposite, and this helps you understand exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, on this bechina, there's other bechinas, but on this bechina, the baby doesn't need the mother bichlal. The baby needs milk, warmth, shelter.
Oh, it could be anybody. The
You
mother's
could
not
switch her
special.
out with a Tesla
That's the
robot.
baby, yeah.
You could switch her out, and they will. Don't worry, they will soon. They'll switch them out with Tesla robots. The mother will be able to sit there scrolling, and she'll have the robot rocking and gooing and gagging and stuff. Yeah.
Not far off.
What?
People have maids.
Maize is also that's an issue, really big issue. So really, the baby doesn't need the mother bichlal. The baby needs things of the mother, stuff from the mother. What about the mother to the baby? Now you would say the mother doesn't need the baby. Now this is an important word to clarify. Need takes on two forms. When we talk about srochov, your needs, that's about going to the bathroom. Yeah, we're not talking about needs like that. We're not talking in that sense. We're talking the idea that the mother, like we said, if something happened to the baby, chas v'shalom, and we turned around and said, look, Baruch Hashem, we have a spare baby for you. There was in India, they have like baby market. You know, in India, they have, I saw this, that they have markets where women rent out their babies for beggars. Beggars pay a little bit of money to take a baby for the day, and then they've got more of a,
Business model.
They have a little bit more of what?
The business
They've
model.
got a bit more to work with. They're a more compelling cause. Also, beggar families.
They pay the
There's like a shuk of babies. It's not everyone. It does have where you pay money for a baby.
A beggar does.
What?
A beggar pays.
A beggar will pay some money to rent a baby for the day, and they'll walk around with a baby, and they'll
To
be.
feel the...
No, because other people will see it because of a baby.
Baby, you get more money.
Yeah.
It's business. It's capitalism. Please.
And there's a side point as well in India. This is much more common than that. More common than that is beggar families who, when the children are born, they mamash smash them up or deform them. They blind them. They do something crazy. 100%. 100% happens. And then they also got a bit more. They that was an initiation into being a bit more valuable, asking for show money.
That's true.
Yeah, that's 100% true. 100% true.
That is so sick.
Anyway, again, that's not. I don't want to say that India. I think in my mind is actually a very great place, but that does
Except for
happen.
babies.
What?
Except for babies.
No, it's a very small. It wasn't
That's
fair.
good.
Even though I said that, it's a very mute of the whole thing. But that does. I'm just trying to give you. The point is that the mother needs the baby. It would be an absurdity to say to her, "Well, just take this one." But you're like, well, what's the difference? What does it do? There's nothing, and this is the point, this is when you see real love, is there's nothing about the baby. They don't even look, a new baby they don't even look cute, they start looking cute at like 1, 2 years old, A brand new baby is just, there's nothing about it. It doesn't even have a name. There's nothing about it. That's real love mamash. So that's the point. You couldn't swap Yehuda out for any other man bichlal. But when it comes to some kind of thing, he's the most handsome, he's the most intelligent, he's the richest, yeah? You'll find someone who's more handsome, who's more intelligent, who's got more money, yeah, then you can switch him out. You with me? So it's dafka, that it's exactly the point. When it's a real love, that person is inexchangeable. Completely inexchangeable. Not because they're not the same as everyone. On this level they are like the same as everyone in a sense. It's another person. But it's a person. That's the mensch. That's the avoider of.
But that's your violence because it's your person.
Well, okay, so
Right, that's
wow,
the
now you're
point.
asking a bigger question. What does it mean your person?
But I'm saying we're going deeper into the self-love thing when it sounds like almost.
So
like
we're going into.
I don't want that person. I want this person. I want my person. I want the one that I have. So that's loving the self.
So that's Hashem's love for Am Yisrael. That's Amcha. We're your nation. Am Yisrael. We belong to Him. So why does He love us? Because we belong to Him. We're His. So it really is on the deepest level a self-love, but it's not a selfish love. It's different.
So
Me
saying
loving
the marriage is the same way.
the goal of marriage is, in a sense, a self-love. It's not really. It doesn't help to say it like that, because what you're seeing, the analogy we give you, I told you about with the two $10, $100 bills.
Yeah.
Right, it's it.
Yeah.
When
If I take out, we've done this many times. What? I ask you for a $100 bill. Yeah. You give me a $100 bill. I turn around and I pull out of my pocket my own $100 bill, and I do like this, and now I turn around to you and say, take one. $200 bills are identical. Yeah. You will look at me, and your brain. You should do it with something very quick. I should have actually done it now. But your brain, fuses. Your brain will fuse, meaning you've got $200 bills in front of you, and you have to choose one.
Yeah.
Your brain can't differentiate. It's like a camera trying to focus. It's got like it's got nothing to focus on.
Okay.
So your brain is trying to find some kind of differentiation. That's the avoided Gomorrah, yeah? So if you're a quick guy and you see one is a bit more crumpled than the other, then you will take that one. If they're mamish identical, you won't know what to do. You will actually enter into a level of silence, internal silence. Yeah, the brain stops. And I turn around to you and I say to you, by the way, this one's yours. You'll immediately take that. Again, the analogy is not perfect, yeah? But because now you can say, well, I've got a reason to take it, it's mine. But this note belongs to you more than any other note? Every note belongs to everyone equally, yeah? That's the analogy. It's not perfect, but it's helpful.
What's the name, Shahi?
Hashem's love for us and your love for your child, which is an answer to Sridhar's very, very deep question about doesn't it become a self-love? And the answer is really yes, but it's not a selfish love. It's a recognition of sameness. It's a not sameness. It's a It's a recognition of oneness. That's why the minute after we say Hashem Echad, V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, that's what that love is. It's not I love God. Why? Because he's infinite, man. He's like, think about, he wins every contest. There's nothing as good as him, yeah? The minute that's why you love God, well, you're right. No one's going to come along to replace him, but really you're just still stuck in yourself. This is the whole avoid of Hasidus. This is what Hasidus is. It's got nothing to do with this whole thing that we call Hasidish. Literally, nothing at all. That's called Lifnim Mishur Sedin. So we went. That was an important tangent. So the question now is, get back to what we were talking about originally. Well, let's say like this. Now, the woman, you love the woman. Let's just make it because she's beautiful. Yeah, you love her because she's beautiful. So there's her, and then there's the beauty, because she's not a body. Yeah, so she has beauty. She's going to get old and lose that. Yeah, get fat and lose that. However it works out. Yeah, what? So Hashem takes that away. You can take that away very quickly. Now tell me, is she an end or a means to an end? If beauty is your thing, yeah,
well, she's a means to beauty.
She's become a means to an end. That's called klipa. She's like the orange peel. the eggshell.
Could the beauty be the means to her?
That's how it's meant to be. That's the prosdor to the mitraklin. That's the corridor to the palace. That's the corridor to the palace. But if you get enamored by the corridor and you forget there's a palace bichlal, that's not marriage. That's called business. That's called business. That's not marriage. The whole inyan of marriage is you choose her because of the beautiful corridor. Yeah.
It goes back to the question that you asked earlier. Is that at the initial stage she's interchangeable?
Yeah, she is.
But
the whole
married anyway. Later in life, okay, you found her.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, look, there's the zivug. You can't marry the wrong person in a sense. Just like you can't have the wrong children. You have hashkach. You'll always marry who you need to marry. But practically, the avodah of marriage is. You choose her not because she's beautiful, not because she's rich. You choose her because she's kind, because she's intelligent, because she's all the nice qualities that people care about. Yeah, that shows something about you. It doesn't show something about her.
There's other nice people as well.
If other, you can switch around for any normal person would realize that he could marry many people. And now the goal is, and that's the point as well. To not be so stuck on it. The more stuck on the qualities you are, that shows you the more stuck in yourself you are. The more important all the qualities are, that everything should be that's not a gilui. That's just a gilui of how important you are to yourself. And marriage is gonna kick you out. Marriage is gonna smash you out of that. That's gonna be painful. So initially you wanna, like I was saying to Nissan the other day, marriage is based on a few basic questions, like when you buy an apartment, a normal person who's buying an apartment, he cares about the shchuna, the price, and the size, let's say. You don't care about the how nice the candle, how nice the lights are in the kitchen, how shiny the floor is, how many ruchos is open to the, those are, if you start getting involved in those, now it could be that you've got 3 houses that are all in the right shchuna, the right size and the right price. Now I need to turn up the resolution a little bit to help me make a decision. But if you start off with all these crazy little minutiae of decisions, you're
doing it the wrong way.
Well, it doesn't matter what happens. You're just stuck in yourself. You're getting more and more selfish, and it's not a. So you make sure that you got a few things in place, the ikka things are in place, and then just jump in. It's going to be different anyway. The morning you wake up, the next morning she's going to be a whole different thing as well. And then she get pregnant, and then she's a whole different thing. And she's a mother. There's a whole new thing, and then you lose your job, and then she gets this, and then this happens, and before you know it, 5 years down the line, she is the opposite of what you married, and you're the opposite of what she married, and that happens to everyone.
That with men, what we're looking for is a woman that doesn't change, and a woman is looking for the woman marries potential. By the way, that is
what you're looking for.
That's what the zachar is potential. Right? So the woman marries potential. The biggest complaint after a divorce from a woman is he never changes. He never changes. He doesn't grow. He never changes, right? That's like a big change. He doesn't change. He's static, right? But a man's complaint from a
she's
wife,
something different.
She's not the woman I married.
But say the whole point though is that if you've married her for a reason, well, not if you're married to her for reasons, she is a means to an end. She's not what it's about. It's about the kindness. It's about the simcha. It's about the famous story that Manisoi says. I've had it now. Now I've moved into my position in life. I've had this a bunch of times. I'll just quote with Manis. This guy came to him. I'll tell you a story from my experience. This guy that I met was a rabbi and a choshev person. He seemed very choshev. And after spending a while with him, I could see he was deeply narcissistic. And he was telling me, he's written poetry for his wife, he pays the bills, he does all the things he's meant to do, He really does. And to the point where his in-laws, who are now his ex-in-laws, they're like putting their hair out over their daughter, like, why do you want to divorce him? He's mamash great. The daughter hates him. She hates her husband. And she doesn't even know why. She can't give a reason why she hates him. She can't give a reason because on paper he looks mamash fantastic. He checks all the boxes. Yeah? Why does she hate him? Why she hates him? I've seen this. It happens in so many different ways. Is because he's not married to her. He's married to him. She's just a means for him to be a good husband. So she feels utterly rejected and completely alone. And she doesn't know why, which makes it even worse. Therefore, she blames herself. And she hates him, B'tachlis Asina, because he's making her feel abject aloneness. And she doesn't understand why. She wants him one time to smack her or do something crazy, shout or do something mummish. So she doesn't feel that she's mummish completely whacked out. But this is happening over and over in this world. People, especially in our frum world, where people are good people. Yeah, we're good. It's not like in other ilamas where the people aren't so good. Yeah, and they're not. But the men can be very, very good, but they've been poisoned with this world view of schar and oynesh. Not that we don't believe in schar and oynesh. Of course, schar and oynesh exists 100%, 100%. But you're not serving God for schar and oynesh. It's just like when you get that mentality stuffed down your throat, yeah, you're left with really no other option than to become self-serving, and that plays out in a lot of frum marriages where good men who just haven't heard what we're speaking about right now are playing the role of being a good husband, and they're playing it really well. And the wife hates them. The wife hates them. It's a tragedy. It's a tragic thing because they just never learned about this idea of there's a person underneath all of the stuff. And so Kozman, you're trying to be a good husband. You could switch it out with any other woman because to be a good husband, you need a wife. Yeah. But who cares who your wife is? You just need a wife. So switch her out with any other woman, and it's about me being a good husband, and that's the opposite of marriage. And she feels completely alone, and it's a big balagan. It's very painful for everyone, really painful for everyone, and it's not so difficult to change if you just learn a little bit. It's really because this is just so obvious. If you read the Mesilas Yesharim and you listen to what Ramchal says about Lifnim Mishur Sadin, you'll realise that's exactly what we're talking about. It's not about just doing more. In most cases, it's about doing less. Most cases, it's about doing less. Because you know what he wants, mamash. You think doing more, that means I'm going to say all of Tillim 3 times today and do Tainus, yeah? That's going to be what, yeah? My wife, she'll work it out. The kids aren't so well, yeah? She's feeling a little bit under the weather. Oh, Tidagi, I'm not here to serve you. I'm here to serve God, yeah? 8 hours later you come back, yeah, your jaw's hurting from the Tehillim, and you're like, you come back and you're like, you've got something for me to eat, please, yeah? You think that's what the Rebbe Shalom wants from you? That's the bait and switch. You hear? That's why religion is like the most dangerous thing in the world, because you start wanting to be. You want to go Lifnim Mishur Sadin. You want to do more than what's required of you, yeah? You don't want to be like a schlepper like everybody else, so you want to do more than what's required of you. But Lifnim Mishur Sadin doesn't mean that. Lifnim Mishur Sadin, it means, as Chazal said, Lifnim Mishur Sadin, going inside the din. Meaning you see the halacha, you see the little petek on the paper towel thing, and you go in and you see Beni Chodesh. You see the mitzvah, and you go in. And what? So that means the mitzvah becomes less important to you? Forget it. The mitzvah becomes infinitely more important to you because it's not gauged by how choshev you are. It becomes completely. It's infinitely more important. You with me? It's a complete reframe. It's a complete paradigm shift of everything we've ever learned. This is what the Baal Shem. This is what happened. This is what the Baal Shem Tov was. That's why it was. So we heard, like in our generation, we hear the Baal Shem Tov. Yeah, it means davening with kavana. Yeah, really schwitzing it out, yeah? It means hachana lemitzvahs, yeah? It means learning Kabbalah and it means having like a geschmack in your Yiddishkeit, yeah? It means having a Rebbe, yeah? It means all the other stuff that why was the Baal Shem Tov, if that's what it means, why was that such a complete revolution in reality? Daven with more kavana, Yeah, have a little bit more of a time in your avodas Hashem. Yeah, be a little more warm, not so cold and logical. Yeah, well, that's a paradigm shift. That's not a complete hishafkas of everything that was before. The complete hishafkas of everything that was before is what we're talking about here. Is moving from you to him, and that's why the Tanya was written for from Yidden. It wasn't a Kiruv thing. Yeah? It wasn't written for Yidden who weren't serving Hashem. It was written for Yidden who were serving Hashem, who felt empty and broken. And he came, and this is my little what's the word?
Takeaway.
2 cents.
My way of explaining this, my little tool. What? My little tool not tool. No, but it's a little method to explain this is the difference between wanting to bring your father the slippers and wanting your father to have the slippers. That is an infinite difference. That's an infinite difference. That's what the Tanya is here to do. It's not talking to the people who don't want to bring his father the slippers. Although it does, it can also help them as well, yeah? But it's primarily addressed at what's called the Beinoini, who is the guy who wants to bring his father the slippers. He wants to bring his father the slippers, which means when his brother brings his father the slippers, that's a little bit of an issue for me. Because I wanted to bring my father the slippers. That's the shurish of Sinas Chinam. Yeah, why did it's everything we're saying here is like everything. Exactly. Moshe was like if Korach was Moshe would have said to Korach, well, how do I fit in? What would you like me to do? But Korach was, I want to serve. I'm the big man. See, that's why there's endless stories for this. But this is the idea. That was what the Baal Shem Tov brought to the world, was a complete hishavchus of reality. It was a complete paradigm shift from I'm the center of reality to I'm not the center of reality. See, it's really, if you want to say it really stark, the first one, when Yiddishkeit is about Olam Haba.
When what?
What? When Yiddishkeit is about Olam Haba, or in our generations, this happens a lot. If Yiddishkeit becomes about feeling God, having a relationship with God. Again, I don't want to. I'm being very stark here just to get the point across. I'm just trying to say if it becomes some kind of having some kind of feeling, yeah. Well, now God is in. If you want to be really black and white, well, God has just become like my mishamish. He's like my masur. Yeah, he's there to give me stuff. So who's the ikka?
Me.
That's what we mean when we say that the Rush was Yetziat Tzvim in a klal. He took himself out of the klal. Who's the klal? What's the klal? Klal is Hashem. Koifa be'ikka. Why is he koifa be'ikka? Because now he's become the ikka. He's now God. That's Elohim Acherim. That I know I said it very, very stark. So when we're not like striving for this, or at least implementing the things that are going to help us get to understanding this idea, we are, and this is again, this I've said this many times, but the whole fight of Rav Manis Friedman in our generation is this idea. He keeps saying it emphatically and controversially that Hashem needs us. You've heard this, Rav Manis Friedman? Yeah? He keeps saying Hashem needs us. Hashem needs us. And everyone's like, Chaz v'shalom, you koifer, how dare you? What do you mean Hashem needs? Hashem doesn't need anything. Well, now, this is really difficult because I know that the Rishonim don't say like this, yeah? But this is how I understood or they don't say this on the Pshat. This is what the Baal Shem Tov brought to the world, which was the final Gilui, is that if Hashem doesn't need anything, well, what are you serving? If you can't serve Hashem, if He doesn't need anything, well, it's all for you. The mitzvahs are for you, like the Chinuch says, like the Rambam says, like the Ramban HaKodesh says, like everyone, all of the Rishonim say, basically. Yeah, at least it seems that that's what they say. Well, then, who are you? Who are you serving? If he can't be served by definition, the mitzvahs are for you. The Baal Shem Tov came out and said, no, the mitzvahs are his mitzvahs. He needs his mitzvahs like you need to live. That's the moshel. You want to say he needs them, he wants them. You argue that out. That's fine. Yeah, they're his mitzvahs. They're not your mitzvahs. It's his Torah. It's his mitzvahs. He gave it to you so that you can do his mitzvahs. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvoi sov v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei soira. Yeah, they're his mitzvahs. Now all of a sudden he's become servable. Does he need my mitzvahs like I need to eat? No, it's not like that. It's a completely different thing. Yeah, but he needs the mitzvahs. Now I've got someone to serve. That's the paradigm shift. That's what the Baal Shem Tov brought around. And the Baal Shem Tov's message got somehow swallowed up in the selfishness of the world. And where we're holding right now is we've needed a new Baal Shem Tov. And I believe Manis Friedman has come out, calling the new Baal Shem Tov. I don't know. Imagine what they would have said about the Baal Shem Tov when he came out. Like right now, we're living in the times, you know. The only reason why we can't say so-and-so is this and so-and-so is that is because we're in the times. Yeah, but we look back and we see there was Shabtai Tzvi and there was the Baal Shem Tov and there were characters, you know, there was Korach and Moshe. Yeah, at the time, I remember asking a guy who, I don't know if he's a tzaddik, but he's a very, very stark yid. And I said to him, we were talking about the whole controversy with a big Rav in our generation, who some people hold as a Russia Gumel, and some people hold as a Tzaddik Gumel. There's no one in the middle. Almost no one in the middle. I don't know if there's any names. Yeah, he's either a Russia Gumel or a Tzaddik Gumel. Yeah, and I said to Hanan, to my friend, what is he? And he says, I believe he's a Tzaddik Gumel. And I'm like, so what would you have said by David at the time that happened? Meaning, it's David HaMelech, yeah, with Bathsheba. You saw it. He said, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed the way the pshat is in the Tanakh. Yeah, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed that he did that. Which is that's fine. I'm trying to say to you that we're in this. We're in the world right now, and if the world goes on for another 200 years, I don't think it will. We'll be talking about the rabbis of this generation as we're talking about the tzaddikim for 200 years before this. We're just so we don't realise we're still in the Torah as we're speaking. It's still playing itself out. We're much a part of the whole thing. So I see that the message that Rav Manis is giving, and the snugdus to the message, is a clear raya that this is like. I don't know who he is, what he is. I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, but this is the only thing that makes any sense to me.
I heard Rav Manis speak about this. I was going to ask you about this. What does it mean? I understand. So is Hashem lacking something when we don't do a mitzvah? Is that what I mean? I heard him say that.
You're asking me.
I'm asking what Manis was. I was trying to.
He was saying
said, and he explained Hashem needs us, and I got. It's pretty radical, but I heard it. But the takeaway is, so is Hashem lacking something when we don't do Hashem's mitzvahs? Because then we need to give, because we need to give to Hashem.
We don't need anything.
What is Hashem lacking when we don't do a mitzvah?
Again, to call it a lack is, I don't know. And we're so quick to say Hashem is this, Hashem is infinite. Yeah, Hashem is. We box him into being complete. We turn him into a big stone. We turn him into an immense rock, needless, and like we completely depersonalize him. He becomes like mamash. So I don't know. I don't know who he is. I don't know. And to say that you do is like, well, by definition, it has to be that he's inclusive of everything. Yeah. So why did he go out of his way and make creation?
Isn't it?
Because it was so you can, because he just wanted to do good for others, and so that you can have pleasure and like. But he doesn't need anything. But he went out of his way and made creation. But he doesn't need anything. It's like, I don't know. What does that mean?
I don't know.
It's the point. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just something that we've been fed over and over. So we're just like, Yeah, but when you think about it, you're just like, I have no idea. I know that, but this makes a lot of sense. He needs his mitzvahs like, I need to live. Now, do I need to live or do I want to live? Let's have that discussion here. Do you need to live or want to live?
I think it's not a question of need. It's a question
Wait,
of...
what did you say? You need or you want?
Both.
What?
Both.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's argue it out. It's a good thing to have a discussion on. So does Hashem need or want the mitzvah? We know he wants the mitzvahs. Does he need the mitzvahs? Well,
I think it's important to delineate the difference between need and choser. When it comes to Hashem, there is no choser with Hashem. That's not because I believe Lani and I use a rock.
I don't know what choser means when you're talking about Hashem.
I'm telling you what's going on in here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think about Hashem, and so there's no obviously there's no physicality, but there's no choser, there's no need, there's no anything. He created this world to elevate physicality into spirituality, to bring spirituality through physicality, to elevate it.
Beautiful, but let's say,
right.
Let's say maybe there's an infinite need, an infinite chesaron, and that's why he made. Who would you say there isn't? How do you know?
That Hashem has a choser?
I'm just saying, if he's infinite, why does that mean that he has an infinite need? And that's why he made I just don't know. Do you realise the chutzpah of what you're saying? It's such a chutzpah. It's so
I've thought about
ridiculous.
Yes,
it's so ridiculous to say anything about him. So I'll tell you what Rav Hass said, a big Talmud Chacham in all of Pnimius and Torah and everything, at the level of the yichud of Zoin, which is Ze'ampen and Nuk, which is Yisrael and Rochel, which is the 6 meters of Atzilus and which is Kudsha Brechu Shchinte, which we talk about the whole time, On that level, Hashem is 100% dependent on us. That is anybody who's worth a grain of salt in Kabbalah realizes that the relationship is between Rachel and Yisrael, Rachel and Yaakov, whatever, between Rachel and Yisrael, and that Rachel is turned backwards, and we're Rachel, and we need to turn towards him. What's that called, by the way? That's called a face-to-face relationship. That's the opposite of what we've been talking about for the past hour, which is a love dependent on something. That's called a back-to-back relationship. So we are meant to turn to him, and that's the zivug of Kudsha Baruch Shchinte. Anybody who understands Kabbalah knows that only someone who's got no musag of Kabbalah would scream and say, you can't say Hashem. On that level, for sure, Hashem needs us. So it has said that gets you out of all of the trouble, which is really what I'm saying now, gets you out of all stickiness, is above that, you can't say anything.
You don't know.
Not because you don't know. You can't say anything. You can't know.
Right.
You can't say he doesn't. You can't say that he doesn't need. Just like you can't say that he does need. Just like you can't say that he's big or small. You can't say that he's infinite. You can't say that he's finite.
But you can say that if he doesn't get us to doing mitzvah, you can say definitively that he's not going to evaporate and the world's going to spontaneously combust if we don't do mitzvah. You can say that.
You can't say that.
You can't say that. Look at where we are.
I don't know. Again, I don't want to. It's kind of an irrelevant discussion. In that, this is one of the big things that the Babich Rebbe was talking about, and the question. And I just told you what Hass said, which gets you out of the stickiness. You can't say anything. Does Hashem need? You can't say that. Does Hashem not need? You can't say that as well. Just like you can't say his chasa, you can't say his shalem. You can't say anything about him. You can't say it. You just can't say anything. So Rav Hass gets out of the whole thing by saying at the level of the zivug of Zoin, of Zampan and the Keva, then that's for sure he needs. Above that you can't say anything. So there's other tzaddikim who said above that you can say other stuff as well. But again, what I'm trying to do here is just take you out of this chutzpah that we have of thinking we can say anything about him. You can't say, well, he obviously doesn't lack anything. What are you talking about? How can you speak? How can you say that? What does that mean? What does a lack mean in your mind? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's like it's irrelevant to say it. It's not a good.
Is it irrelevant to say that he doesn't have any choser?
I don't know. I'm not
for
saying
a yid to himself. Is it irrelevant to say that Hashem has no choser?
Well, that sounds very negative, yeah?
Really?
No, to say that he's choser. You can't say he's choser because he's shalem, yeah?
Right.
He's the tachlis of shleimus, like the Ramchal says.
Right.
So you can't say he's choser, okay?
Right.
But you don't know what the level that... You don't know...
We don't know the level of the...
And then what does it mean that he's choser? Like, when I'm choser, it means that I don't have money to pay my rent.
Right.
We don't obviously mean that.
Right.
So what do you mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? It's just an irrelevant thing. I just don't know what you mean. What could he be choser? I know that he's not choser that he can't pay his rent. I know that he's not like 5'5" and not 6'3". That's for sure. Yeah. So what do you mean he can't be choser? again, I'm just trying to be real with the situation. We're
using all
learning.
these words. I think the Rambam says, right? Obviously, we can't explain because one doesn't have physicality. The Torah does use a word Yad Hashem.
But even not physicality, even spirituality. Also,
I'm
you
saying
can
all
talk
these
about
words
spirituality.
are just trying to describe something we can't describe.
So that's why we have moshel, and that's why I kept saying,
Right. So
do you need to live or do you want to live? That's the moshel that Hashem gave us to understand his relationship to mitzvahs.
I'm trying
You
to.
need live what you want to.
But the difference between our need to live and his desire for mitzvahs is that he, Yisborach, enforced that upon us.
What do you mean?
The reason why you want to live
Okay.
is because that's how Hashem made it.
Right.
That's not why. That's not how Hashem's how his need to live is,
Right.
or his need for mitzvahs.
Right.
That's not the same thing. So now we say, so he chose to want, and that's what everyone says. So he chose to need mitzvahs. Then you got back. It's just chicken egg. You're back to the. Why did he choose that?
Because that's putting human mindset and thought into Hashem, and that's not how.
So now what's
that operating system and Zikiv and this operating system are not the same.
So now what do we
It's
do
like
to talk? So now what's the?
processor and
So what do we now? What do we say? What's the only logical way of coming out? Because we realise that what you can't say anything like and hold any credibility really about him. He mamash wants his mitzvahs. Like, I need to live. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, what can I do for him? I can tuck into his mitzvahs. It's like in marriage, yeah? Like we've said many times, traditional marriage is, I know, and this is one of the problems with Gullus, is that now it's meant to be that the man earns money. That's what it says in the Ksuba. I had a joke from Rav Asher Weiss. So Asher Weiss is a really Hoshik person, really worth listening to. Really, not just going along with the program, Bichlal. The way I understand it, that he said, who might give Haskama to Asher Weiss, that he said his mother made a joke. His mother nifled a couple of years ago, and she was funny, very intelligent woman. She made a joke. He said, the reason why the Ksuba was written in Aramaic is so the women couldn't read it, so they don't know what you're mechuyev in. Yeah, because in our generation, in this funny oilam that we live in, yeah, in this kolel oilam that we live in, where a lot of men have thrown off the yoke of derech eretz, so they can be makabel o malchus shemayim. Yeah, let's say that that's not being taken care of. So that the original structure of marriage is predicated on the man earns money and the woman turns that money into life. Yeah, I saw this film a few years ago. It was like a clean, violent film, yeah, which I watched with my eldest two boys. I can't remember the name of it. Where they did these commando guys, they did this thing and they got all this money from these Mexican cartel, but then their helicopter broke on the way back. It crashed and they had to get back to wherever, and they were schlepping with them like huge amounts of money. What?
Three Kings.
What's it called?
Three Kings.
I don't think it was called that. Either way, I don't know. I don't think I remember a different name. Anyway, the film was they are in the wilderness, yeah, not a desert. It was like a mountain area, yeah, and they had to traverse, a lot of miles, and they had with them, they're like 10 guys with 40 massive bags of money, and there's a scene. I remember the scene. It's a beautiful scene. The only thing I remember from the film basically is that they're all sitting. It's in the middle of the night. They're freezing, yeah, and they put the money in the and they're throwing massive wadges of money into a fire to keep warm. That was such a profound image. I love that. Money's nothing. Nothing. You can't eat it. You can't sleep on it. Maybe you can sleep on it. Maybe use it as a pillow. Yeah, but the woman takes that nothingness.
Make heat with it.
No, that's exactly. The woman takes that nothingness, that pure potential, like Suri was saying, takes that potential and turns it into life. So if the man just earned money and he came home and he sits a bunch of money on the table, he would die. So what's she doing for him? She's giving him life. And now, if he didn't give her the money, she would die. So what's he doing for her? He's giving her life. That's a relationship where you're supplying the other's genuine, ultimate taiva. That's what, getting back to the beginning of what we didn't get to chapter Lamed Zayin. This is chapter Lamed Vav. is that you're supplying the other's taiva, which means there's no reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so profound and so simple and so obvious. You're like, why? How comes it? And this what Ravanis keeps saying. How comes it took us 5,700 and however many years to understand this? And I'm not saying that any of the previous generations were wrong. I'm just saying that Klal Yisrael is going through. Klal Yisrael is a being that grows. And we've been moving, like we say, with the midgets on the top of giant shoulders. Yeah, you want to say it like that? Fine. Yeah, but we're not just like we know that all the Yidden in the world physically are one goof. Yeah, everyone appreciates that idea. Yeah, you might be an eye, I might be a toe, you might be a lung. We all, we understand that idea. Yeah, very nice. That's Bechinas Makom. What about Bechinas Zman? Same thing. It's not like you're different to who you were 10 years ago. The reason why you're now you is because of who you were 10 years ago. That's what Am Yisrael is. So Am Yisrael is one bechinas makom, as we can conceptually deal with. But something we don't talk about, and this is very important, is that we're one bechinas zman. Meaning you're not separate from the Ramchal, you're not separate from the Rambam, you're not separate from Rabbi Akiva, you're not separate from Moshe, yeah, you're not separate from Adam. It's a real growth process, and now we're here at the end of days, mamash, ready for the Rabbanu Shloim. So this idea of coming to this new, if you want to call it new, I don't know if that's the right thing to call it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there was a chiddush by Baal Shem Tov, but that's where we're holding at right now. Is this hishafchus from me to him? And that is predicated on taiva, on not understanding his taiva, because you can't. The whole point of the taiva is you can't understand it. And if I could understand why Hashem wants mitzvahs, yeah, well then I'm doing it because I understand it. That would take a lot of work to do it for him.
That's not the point. That's not that should be the purpose.
To what? To do it because you understand it?
Yeah, you do it not because you understand it. You do it because you want him to be.
You do it because you're a Jew, and that's what you are. You do mitzvahs because that's how he made it. If you do it and you don't understand it, that's the ultimate level of relationship.
That's the point. You're doing it because you know there's a purpose, but you don't know.
Not that you know there's a purpose. You've stepped out of you into him. I mean, the same thing we're saying, but that is what a relationship is.
Not understanding would be the.
Well, it's that there isn't anything to understand. You're beyond the level of all logic.
It's not about even trying to understand.
There isn't understanding.
In any area of the Avodas Hashem, you're saying?
No, you have a mitzvah to understand it. You have a mitzvah to understand as much as you can.
Right.
But the relationship is predicated on not understanding. Why are you learning Torah? See, if you say to me, I'm learning Torah because it sharpens my mind and makes me a better person, yeah? What?
I just use it as a tool, very selfish tool.
That's really grubby.
Yeah.
But if you say to me, I'm learning Torah, why? Because he wants me to learn Torah. Well, why are you pushing your mind to the nth degree and going to the end of your seichel? Because that's what he wants from me. Why? I could talk about it a little bit. I know, this, but really the panemius, the real reason, the end of the whole intelligent thinking is the yichud of Kutcha Baruch Shchintei. He wants, and this is beautiful, we've come right back to the point. He wants a dir b'tachtoinim. This is how he began the class, yeah? A dir b'tachtoinim, a dwelling place in the lowest places. Yeah. That's what he wants. That means this yichud of Kutcha Baruch Shchintei, which means binding creation to creator. That's what that means, the way I understand it. Now, why does he want that? I don't know. That I don't know. You see, that's me. I've used my mind. I've been using my mind now for the past 2 decades, understanding this. And the whole point is, it's not like you throw your mind away. It's not like this doesn't use your mind. This uses your mind on an insane level, a completely different way to how Gemara uses your mind. But it uses your mind on an insane level to the point where you can say, with your hand on your heart, I can't know that. You can't. That's where Emunah kicks in. It can't be known. Like another person can't be known. They can't be known. There's no thing to know. There's nothing. That's my little joke. Is that's why atheism is such a heilige Zach in a sense. Is that because now what's Hashem? He's nothing. For the first time in history, he's become no thing. He's not a thing. It's a step in the right direction. You with me? I'm just joking. Yeah, but I'm kind of. But it's just, there's a truth to that. We've stepped away. We are now in this place where Hashem has worked really hard, so to speak, to put us in a place where our minds can now deal with these very, very lofty ideas that you realise that actually it's taken a lot of sophistication. That's what the Gemara says, the Tanya quotes, is the handle from the axe comes from the forest. What does that mean? How do you cut down a forest? With an axe. The axe is made of wood, or the hand of the axe is made of wood. That's also an important part of the Moshe, by the way, but I'm not going into that. But the handle from the axe comes from the forest. So you have to take a chelik of the forest to chop down the forest. So you have to use your intellect to ascend your intellect. You can't ascend your intellect without tremendous intellect. You could duck below your intellect quite easily. Many people do that. Yeah, that's very easy. Yeah, but to ascend your intellect, yeah, that takes a lot of mind power. That takes a lot of processing. That takes a lot of bandwidth to genuinely ascend your intellect. With me? And that's what's required of us, and that's what it means to finish on Chazal. Ein Am Ha'oretz Chassid. An Am Ha'oretz can't be a Chassid. To be a Chassid meaning to get to the tachlis of Pshitas. It's about him. Is only available to us, to our generation, because we've become so sophisticated now. We don't have to be Amarotzim. As you see, it's a generation of not Amarotzim. People are mamash shakua in Torah, in the frum world, like never before. You think anyone in the old generation knew Torah, like the Hamon Am of our generation knows Torah? It's crazy, yeah? We're ready mamash to ascend. Now, we're not Amarotzim anymore. But the point is now to become a chassid. That's the avodah, to be chassidim. That's what are the first words of the Mesilas Yesharim? Yisoid avoda.
Chassidus is Shorish Vorashim.
V'shorish Chassidus.
Shorish Avoda.
What is it?
Yisoid Chassidus v'Shorish Avoda.
There you go. The whole sefer of Mesilas Yesharim is written to make you become a chassid. But somewhere along the lines, the Chassidim chapped what Chassidus is, and it became like a funny thing. Yeah, and what?
What became funny?
Chassidus became like a funny thing, a really funny thing, a real funny thing. Yeah, and now we're ready to ascend that. My mum is ready to ascend that and become real Chassidim, which means enough of me, and let's start serving the Baruch Shalom. Shkoyach.